Hey, what's up, team? It's Sherman here from Geek Psychology. In this video, I'm going to be talking about this idea that I've had kind of bouncing around a little bit. Basically, it's a way of understanding your awareness and kind of the balance going on between the introverted side of yourself and the extroverted side of yourself. And it's basically the awareness of your psyche's balance in that sense. And the goal here, though, is not to have a perfect balance of introversion and extroversion, but it's to be aware of the balance. Like, how much time am I actually spending on my introverted realm of things, or how much time am I spending outside in the outer world, the extroverted realm of things. I like to imagine things as video games and stuff like that, as you probably know by now. And so I like to imagine that I have this heads-up display. Okay, super geeky, I know. And then in this bottom area, I have my resource kind of globe. And within that, it's going to be filling it's going to be filling with the introverted side of things or filling with the extroverted side of things. And I'll explain that in a second with a fancy little drawing. But basically, the introverted side is how we relate the outer world to ourselves and our needs and our past and our priorities and stuff like that. It's kind of, it doesn't budge in that sense. It's like, I don't care what's going on in the outer realm, but, I'm going to act accordingly to this introverted understanding of my past experiences and things like that. Kind of, it does not adapt to the outer side. And then the extroverted realm is the one that is apparent to everybody in a sense, and it's showing that you need to adapt yourself to the outer world's agenda and the circumstances out there, and kind of that give and take of that everybody has. Right? You can't always do things your own way without it impacting somebody else and causing issues, right? So it's that give and take, that balance in a sense. But it's kind of like, just adapting to the outer situation and sometimes putting ourselves aside in order to do that as well. And so too much of either of those is not good, right? If you need to have an awareness and a balance of that. So let me explain with my iPad Reno here. Okay, so you have your circle, right? Your globe right there, and then on one side you're gonna have the extroverted realm. Okay, and the other side you're going to have the, you guessed it, introverted realm. Okay, the blue is the introverted realm, red is extroverted realm, and together it looks like the Pepsi logo. And they don't sponsor me to say that. All right, I have to write this backwards, don't I? Okay, introversion and extroversion. I hope that's correct. So by doing something in the introverted realm, it fills up that. Okay, it goes up. It goes up. Okay, so I get more and more introverted kind of sidedness. If I do stuff in the extroverted realm, then it goes the other way. Okay, I'm an introvert, so I naturally, hopefully, if things are working correctly, I'm filling up this introverted realm in a stable, kind of aware way, and I'm balancing it with extroverted intuition for myself as an INFP, usually. As in, usually that's how I would balance it. Sometimes extroverted thinking comes out and just kind of ruins my day. So by doing too much like introverted stuff, like just reflecting and being too stubborn to my own goals and not adjusting to the outer world, not taking in ideas and learning from the outer world, from new experiences, this is going to fill up too much. I'm going to have way too much introverted sidedness. And this is going to overflow. And my psyche is like, what is going on? And it has to do something in order to correct that, because it's too much introversion. And likewise, if I were to do the other stuff and just never, pressing buttons. If I were just to go out constantly and not have that time to like reflect and like reconcile my ideas and my experiences with who I am as a person, then the introverted realm is going to flow out and be like, hey, you need to calm down a bit. You need some time for yourself. You need to like carve a little place for you to just like huddle up with yourself, right? And have a little one-on-one powwow, whatever. Okay, so through this, you have, as an introvert, you have your dominant function down here, introverted feeling for myself, and then you also have your tertiary function, introverted sensing for myself. So you have a way of making decisions, and you have a way of learning and organizing information in a sense. And up here, you also have two different functions. You have the extroverted perceiving style. For me, extroverted intuition, kind of taking in ideas from the outer world and like playing with the dynamics and the context and stuff like that. As well as your inferior function. My inferior function as an introvert is going to be in the extroverted realm. Okay, it's extroverted thinking for myself, and it's not a pretty thing when it's being used to like overly balance this stuff. Okay, so let me kind of explain a little bit more about this. I hope that was kind of explained enough. If you don't know your function stack, then you should look that up. I say that quite often. It's a good thing to know. But okay, so you have your dominant function. Your dominant function is like your signature ability. It's just what you always do. You have this necessity to act in accordance to that. For me, it's to be authentic to my values and my personal needs and stuff like that, despite what's going on around me. And so that's kind of my signature ability, my signature style. And it's like you have the most points allotted in that field. It's well practiced. It's easy for you to use. That is your dominant style. That fills up whichever side of that globe that you are naturally. If you're an extrovert, it's going to fill up the red side. If you're an introvert, it's going to fill up the blue side. And next is your auxiliary function. Your auxiliary function augments and or supports your signature abilities, and it fills up the other side. So it's filling up my extroverted side instead of my dominant function filling up the introverted side. And this is good because it helps balance that out. But it's, and it gives it like this stronger impact to my dominant function. My signature abilities are going to like spread out and have this kind of like rippling effect or something like that as an extroverted intuitive. But the functions themselves are not that important in this video. It's how they're working together within the psyche. And this is the auxiliary function is where you are consciously competent, but it takes effort to use. Like you have to kind of turn on the augment to your signature ability. You're like, okay, I need more balance, so I'm going to use my auxiliary function in connection with my dominant function. For me, it would be to think creatively, how can I express the individual side of the world, and like how this actually affects people on an internal value-based level. So it's intentional use. And because of that, I mean, it is kind of tiring at times, but it's like, I have practice in it. I'm good at it. This is, where I should be focusing on trying to balance the energies. The tertiary function is less skilled, and this amplifies the energy use of the signature abilities. It amplifies the energy use of the signature abilities and fills the dominant energy. So me doing something with my tertiary function is going to amplify my dominant function and fill up the introverted realm even more. And by doing that, it's going to be more difficult to balance that energy. And it's kind of chaotic, kind of unreliable. Like, I'll use my signature ability or whatever, and sometimes it'll just be like, boom, and just fill it up completely. Because it's not something I should be relying on. It's a way of aggressively defending my attitude, my introversion. Or if you're an extrovert, your extroverted side. And yeah, I mean, it's going to say that, like, this is the correct thing to do, and then I do it, and it's going to cause problems by overflowing that dominant energy. And then the inferior function is this, like, high cost abilities that fill the other energy. So I consider them to be separate from the signature abilities. It feels like it's just this other thing. It's not me. It was this other side that did it. It's not my signature, like trying to heal people, but it's just chucking a giant meteor from space onto people and be like, well, that wasn't me. Like, I'm sorry, that didn't really happen. Like, I was in a bad state at that time, right? That's kind of that idea. But the reason why it comes out like that a lot of times is because it's your psyche trying to balance itself. When it's overflowing, when all that extra other side energy is coming out, your psyche's like, hey, you need to balance this. Bad things are going to happen if you fill up completely on one of the colors. And so that comes out, and it's like, it kind of like chunks it, if that makes sense, and just, it's birds. It just kind of like fills up the other side heavily in order to try to regain that balance and show you that you need to be aware of something that's going wrong. You're not spending enough time using your auxiliary function. You're spending too much time using your dominant and your tertiary function. And I talked about this before in a couple videos, actually, as the dominant and tertiary loop, or being in the grip of your inferior function. So that's all bad stuff, right? You need to have that awareness of the balance. Once again, it's not awareness and trying to create a perfect balance in the middle, right? It's knowing, when you're leaning towards one side or the other a little bit too much. Okay, I think I have covered everything I wanted to talk about in this video, and I kept it under 20 minutes. That's amazing for me. I hope that it made sense. I'm going to, I guess I'll post that beautiful picture that I drew in the description below. I would like to hear your kind of interpretation of what I'm expressing here, especially any extroverts out there, like what it's like when you go too far into that extroverted side and you lose the connection with who you are based on your experiences and what's truly important to you. And the introverts, I'm an introvert, so I kind of understand that as well. But the idea of like just when you become a recluse and you don't go out there, and how you get stuck in that loop of just filling up your blue energy, and the bad things that can happen with that. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. It means a lot to me, and your comments are super helpful. I always look forward to reading them and hopefully commenting on them. I'm not able to catch everyone that comes in. I'm sorry about that. But you can also write me through like a private message or Sherman@geekpsychology.com, and that will kind of focus my attention a little bit outside of myself and my ideas that I'm going with. All right. So thank you very much for watching. Good luck on your journey. Be a hero today, and good luck. Have fun. Peace.